My name is Aisha, and this is the story of how I betrayed everything I believed in. I've been a literature professor for 6 years. My hijab is more than a piece of fabricates my identity and my connection to my faith. My husband, Daniel, is a devout Christian. Our differences have always been a strength, not a weakness. But everything changed when Ryan walked into my class. He was confident, talented, and had a charm that was hard to ignore. At first, he was just another student. He asked insightful questions, turned in brilliant essays, and seemed genuinely passionate about literature. One day, after class, he approached me. "Professor Aisha, your lecture on identity really resonated with me," he said. I smiled and thanked him. "I'm glad to hear that, Ryan. Identity is such a powerful theme in literature," I replied, but there was something in his gaze that unsettled me. It wasn't just admiration, it was something deeper. Over the next few weeks, he stayed back after class more often. "Can I ask you something personal?" he asked one evening. I hesitated but nodded. "Why did you choose to wear the hijab?" he asked. His tone was curious, not judgmental. I explained how it was a part of my identity and faith. He listened intently, his eyes never leaving mine. "That's incredible," he said. "You have so much courage to stay true to yourself." His words lingered with me. The next day, he left a note on my desk. "Your strength is inspiring. Can we grab coffee sometime?" I knew it was inappropriate, but his words had struck a chord, and against my better judgment, I said yes. That evening, we sat in a quiet cafe. We talked about books, life, and dreams. For the first time in years, I felt truly seen. But as I walked home, guilt hit me like a wave. Daniel was waiting for me with a warm smile. "How was your day?" he asked. "Busy?" I lied. I couldn't tell him the truth. Not about Ryan, not about how he made me feel. That night, I couldn't sleep. Ryan's words echoed in my mind. "You have so much courage." But was I really brave, or just reckless? The coffee meetings became a regular thing. At first, it was all about literature and ideas. But soon, the conversations shifted. Ryan started asking more personal questions, diving deeper into my life. "Do you ever feel like people misunderstand you because of your hijab?" he asked one evening, his eyes filled with curiosity. I nodded. "Sometimes," I said, "but it's a part of who I am. I wouldn't change it for anything." "That's what I admire about you," he said softly. His words made my heart race, and I hated myself for it. One evening, after class, he waited for me. "Aisha, can we talk somewhere private?" he asked, his voice hesitant. I hesitated but agreed. We sat in a quiet corner of the library. "You're amazing," he said. "Do you even realize that?" I felt my cheeks flush. "Ryan, you're my student. This isn't right," I said, my voice trembling. But he didn't back down. "You're more than just my professor, Aisha. You're extraordinary," he said, his voice filled with emotion. I stood up, trying to put some distance between us. "This has to stop," I said firmly. But deep down, I didn't want it to. That night, Daniel noticed my distraction. "Is everything okay?" he asked, concern in his voice. I forced a smile. "Just tired," I said, but the guilt was eating me alive. I was lying to the man who loved me unconditionally. The next day, Ryan left a note on my desk. "Meet me tonight, please," it said. I should have ignored it, but I didn't. We met in a small cafe. He looked at me, his eyes filled with vulnerability. "I can't stop thinking about you," he said. "Ryan, this isn't fair. To you, to me, to my husband," I said. But my words lacked conviction. "Do you love him?" he asked suddenly. The question hit me like a brick. "Of course I do," I said, but my voice wavered. Then why are you here with me? He asked. I had no answer. My silence said more than words ever could. That night, I avoided Daniel's questions. My mind was a mess, torn between the life I had and the feelings I couldn't deny. Ryan became bolder with each passing day. He started waiting for me outside my office after every class. You can't keep avoiding me, Aisha, he said one evening, his voice both firm and pleading. I sighed, glancing around to make sure no one was watching. Ryan, this has to stop. It's not right, I said. It's not just me, Aisha. I know you feel it too, he said, stepping closer. His confidence was overwhelming. That night, Daniel noticed my distraction again. You've been so distant lately. Is there something I should know? He asked. I shook my head, forcing a smile. It's just work stress, Daniel. I promise everything's fine, I said, avoiding his eyes. But everything was far from fine. My guilt was consuming me, and Ryan's presence only made it worse. One evening, Ryan asked to meet outside of campus, just for a quick coffee, he said. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We sat in a small cafe, away from prying eyes. Aisha, I can't stop thinking about you, he said, his voice trembling. Ryan, this is wrong. I have a husband, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. But even as I said it, I couldn't walk away. Do you love him? He asked, his eyes searching mine. Yes, I said quickly, but deep down, I wasn't sure anymore. That night, I came home late. Daniel was waiting for me. Where were you? He asked, his tone calm but suspicious. Just finishing up some work, I lied. But the way he looked at me made my heart sink. He didn't believe me. A few days later, Ryan left a gift on my desk, a book with a note inside, for the woman who inspires me every day. I kept the book, hiding it in my bag. But when I got home, Daniel found it while unpacking my things. What's this? He asked, holding up the book. His expression was a mix of confusion and hurt. It's just a gift from a student, I said quickly. But my voice shook and Daniel's eyes narrowed. A student who calls you inspiring. Aisha, what's going on? He asked, his voice rising. My silence was deafening. Tears welled up in my eyes. It's not what you think, Daniel, I said. But deep down, I knew it was exactly what he thought. Then explain it to me, he said, his voice breaking. But I couldn't. I had no words, only guilt and shame. Daniel stared at me, waiting for an explanation. I knew I couldn't lie anymore. He deserved the truth. Daniel, I've made a mistake, I said, my voice trembling. Tears streamed down my face as I struggled to speak. A mistake, he repeated, his voice filled with anger. What kind of mistake? Aisha, tell me the truth. I took a deep breath and said, I've been seeing someone, a student. But it's over, Daniel. I swear it's over. His face turned pale, and he stepped back as if my words had physically struck him. A student, Aisha. How could you? I don't know, I said, sobbing. It wasn't supposed to happen. I never meant to hurt you. But you did, he said, his voice breaking. You hurt me, Aisha. You destroyed everything we built together. He turned away, pacing the room. I trusted you. I believed in us, and now, I don't even know who you are. I wanted to fix it, to make him understand. Daniel, please, it didn't mean anything. It's you I love, I pleaded. But he shook his head. Love, if you love me, you wouldn't have done this, he said, his voice filled with pain. That night, he packed a bag and left. I begged him to stay, but his mind was made up. I need time. Aisha, maybe we both do. Ryan tried to contact me after that, but I blocked his number. I realized he was never worth the price I paid. Weeks turned into months. Daniel didn't come back. I signed the divorce papers, knowing I didn't deserve his forgiveness. Now, I live alone with my regrets. I lost my husband, my identity, and myself. This is my story, a story of mistakes and consequences.